3 times square root of 20 plus 7 times square root of 5 upon square root of 2 times square root of 3. How to simplify this? So there are two methods to simplify it. Let's try the method 1. So 3 times square root of 20 we can write it as 4 times 5 under square root plus 7 times square root of 5 upon square root of 2 times square root of 3. When square root of a times square root of b, this we can write it as a times b under square root. And a times b under square root, we can write square root of a times square root of b. So this we can write square root of 6. Again, here 4 times 5 under square root, we can write 3 times square root of 4 times square root of 5 using this property, plus 7 times square root of 5 upon square root of 6. Now square root of 4 is 2, so this is 3 times 2 times square root of 5 plus 7 times square root of 5 upon square root of 6. 3 times 2 is 6, so this is 6 times square root of 5 plus 7 times square root of 5 upon square root of 6. Now in the numerator you can see square root of 5 is common. So we can take square root of 5 common and write square root of 5 and then 6, because 6 times square root of 5 divided by square root of 5 will be equal to 6, plus 7 times square root of 5 divided by square root of 5 will be 7. So 6 plus 7, then upon square root of 6. 6 plus 7 is 13. So this is 13 times square root of 5 upon square root of 6. Now in the denominator, a square root is not allowed, a root is not allowed. To make it a real number, we have to rationalize the denominator. To rationalize the denominator, we have to multiply and divide it by the denominator. Now consider, if you multiply it by 1, nothing is going to change. So if you multiply it by a upon a, nothing is going to change because a upon a will be equal to 1. So if we have to rationalize the denominator, what we do? We multiply and divide by the denominator. So it is 13 times square root of 5 upon square root of 6 times square root of 6 upon square root of 6. In this way we are not changing the original number. Now 6 times 5 under square root will be 30 under square root, and square root of 6 times square root of 6 will be square root of 6 square. Now we can remove the square root with the square, because square root means it is raised to the power of 1 upon 2. So when it is squared, exponent is also multiplied by 2. So then 2 and 2 gets cancelled. So answer is 13 times square root of 30 upon 6. So this is one method. Another method is we rationalize the denominator in the first step only. So our question is square root of 2 times square root of 3 is square root of 6. So it is 3 times square root of 20 plus 7 times square root of 5 upon square root of 6. So we rationalize the denominator, multiply and divide by square root of 6. So this is square root of 6 multiplied to 3 times square root of 20 plus 7 times square root of 5 upon square root of 6 square. This is square root of 20 times square root of 6 equal to 20 times 6 under square root, and this will be 7 times 5 times 6 under square root upon, remove the square root with the square, 6. This is 3 times 120 under square root plus 7 times 30 under square root upon 6, or 3 times 120 under square root. This you can write 30 times 4 under square root plus 7 times square root of 30 upon 6. So this is 3 times square root of 4 times square root of 30 plus 7 times square root of 30 upon 6. Now 3 times square root of 4 is 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times square root of 30 plus 7 times square root of 30 upon 6. Again square root of 30 is common. So we can write square root of 30 common and add 6 plus 7. So this is equal to 13 times square root of 30 upon 6. How did you solve it? Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.